right, so let's dive right into our Gophers preview then.
All right.
So this is a young team. I think in recent years past, Gophers fans have kind of been spoiled with the likes of Andre Hollins, Austin Hollins, and really just kind of 4-year program players.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot of turnover. So where do we go from here?
Yeah, it's really led by a young team. Obviously, I'd say Nate Mason is probably the leader here.
Yeah, Nate Mason, just a sophomore, but he's already treated like a leader. We have a story elsewhere on this site about that. Patino, he kind of had no problem talking about how he treats him like he's an upperclassman. That's just kind of the way he presents himself. And Mason, who's been working on his ball handling in the offseason, really just trying to give this team more than what he gave them the year before, which I think is inspiring to see. No matter who you root for. So.
Yeah, hopefully he can develop into kind of what DeAndre Matthew became, but even a better shooter.
Yeah.
Right now, he's not shooting too well. He's at about 37.5%. So you'd like to see that go up.
Yeah.
But on a team that has so few scorers, he's really huge for the Gophers.
Definitely. I mean, I think Patino, kind of is mix and match on whether he wants a passing point guard or a shooting point guard. But, Mason I think he can improve a little bit on his decisions in that sense. But still, this is a team that doesn't have that many scorers, at least quite yet. So I think he's handling it as best as he can. But over the course of the season, it should be interesting to see how he keeps handling this leadership role that he's in, even though he's not a team captain.
Yeah. We can talk about Joey King, a transfer from Drake.
Mm-hmm.
He's really lighting it up so far this year.
Yeah, he is, and I think that's probably a good thing to see in terms of how Patino is developing his players.
Mm-hmm.
King's kind of Minnesota's boy, if you will, and he just kind of plays with that tenacity. I think there was a game a year or two ago where he dove and got all bloody in the face or something. And that's, quite frankly, those are the type of players that Patino wants.
Yeah. You can bring that intensity.
Yeah.
And that's really what we need.
And I think of the leaders, he's most vocal, even though sometimes he might force it a little bit.
Yeah.
He kind of has to. He's been there, and he's gotten the most playing time. So that experience, I think this team definitely needs.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, I think as we're going to get into right now, the surprise so far is Jordan Murphy.
Oh, yeah. He's been a baller for the Gophers.
I mean, the tip-in against South Dakota just the other day to save the game, at least for the time being.
17 rebounds.
Yeah.
Probably the most for a Gopher in a long time.
I mean, that's impressive. This is a 6'6" guy out of San Antonio. I mean, 6'6" isn't that tall in the realm of Big Ten basketball.
Yeah.
So for him to be that big of a force on, the offensive and defensive glass kind of shows his ability to box out and, really his understanding of the game.
It'll really be interesting to see how he matches up against Big Ten teams and the physicality that they bring.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think a team like Michigan State, Purdue with their bigs, and Maryland will kind of show you how really good this team is. And for a kid like Murphy, really kind of give him a chance to see what it's like, see what's expected, and take note and move forward. So I think Mason, Murphy, and King are kind of three keys. But other features, Bakari Kanate.
He's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's very raw. I think he's still kind of getting the feel of things in terms of basketball.
Yeah. I mean, talk about a jump. He, he just came to the team last year, and, doesn't really have all that much basketball experience. But that size is tough to argue against.
Exactly. If he can develop into a good post presence, that'll be huge for the Gophers.
Yeah, I mean, I think they need that.
Because they do really lack size.
Yeah, Mo Walker, and even as kind of goofy as Eliason was.
Yeah.
They still need those big bodies.
Yeah.
Especially in conference play.
But it would really be nice to see him work on his rebounding because that's been pretty lackluster so far. He really needs to improve on his footwork and positioning. And he has developed scoring a little bit. Like last year, he was basically a non-factor on the offensive end. But
yeah, I think some of that comes with some comfort and confidence in the system.
Yeah.
And I think you get that when you grow and you're kind of working as much as he is to really, I guess, become familiar with it. So another feature I think is Charles Buggs. He was a huge question mark coming in. He was recruited by Tubby Smith, and then Tubby took off for Texas Tech, of course. Yeah. But you know, he wasn't. I wouldn't say he was as raw as Bakari was, because obviously he had played in Texas, but he has really kind of came into his own.
Yeah. Started off as a really small, kind of scrawny guy, especially for being a forward in the Big Ten. So it was kind of hard for him to make an impact. But over the past years, he's put on some weight. Definitely developed his skills.
Yeah, I mean, he's a fun guy to watch when he slashes to the hoop.
Yeah.
You know, he can still shoot a little bit. So he's really just kind of a high-energy player. And that's kind of a role player coming off the bench for the Gophers, I think, that they can really use.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the most athletic players in the Big Ten, and you can see that in flashes from time to time.
Yeah, definitely. I think Pitino struggles with kind of reeling him in, keeping him on focus.
Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes it's kind of good to have that player who isn't afraid to improvise and go off the rails a little bit.
It would be good for him if he can turn that athleticism into something consistent.
Yeah, definitely. So then let's talk about Pitino now. Year 3, so his first year, misses the NCAA tournament, but as a consolation, they win the NIT.
Yeah. So he came out. It looked pretty good for the Gophers.
Yeah.
You know, in the wake of the Tubby Smith era, maybe seeing what he could bring for this team.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like a good hire right away for Norwood Teague. I think a lot of people were kind of upset that they didn't get Shaka Smart or someone else with more proven background or track record, if you would. But then again, next season, so last year.
Yeah. There were hopes for the NCAA tournament.
There were.
And definitely didn't pan out.
They just kind of fell.
Yeah, there were a lot of really close losses, but still the program kind of took a step backward.
Yeah, you don't like to see, especially with the rebuilding program in the second year, moving backwards. And I think we can agree that's what they did. I mean, they lost some close games, but still, with the leaders they had, it seemed like DeAndre Matthew couldn't find his game all year.
Yeah, he kind of regressed. Same with Andre Hollins.
Yeah, Hollins took a step backwards too. I think it was just kind of almost sad to see.
Yeah, it was a really bizarre year.
Yeah, so now we're in year 3, and it doesn't. Maybe that's to his advantage. Expectations don't seem to be that high.
Yeah,
but
again, this does kind of seem like a rebuilding year. He's bringing in his new players and trying to improve on the players that he has right now, but we've seen a couple of rough losses, obviously, with South Dakota.
I mean, South Dakota isn't a loss that you like to have on your resume.
Probably one of the worst Gophers losses in the past decade.
Yeah.
I'd say.
So then I think, can't get around this question. You know, what's Pitino's future? I mean, is he on a short leash? Is he on a long leash? What do you think?
Well, right now, I think he's safe for this year, as long as he doesn't do anything too crazy or get into trouble. Mm-hmm. And as long as the team doesn't underperform too badly. But going into next year is going to be huge for him. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is really kind of a tall tale year for him. I think he's lucky that the university has some administrative questions. Mm-hmm. I don't think interim athletics director Beth Getz is going to want to, fire Pitino for underperforming. I think she would not be afraid to fire him for an issue or an incident. Yeah. But Pitino, whether he likes it or not, is really kind of the face of this athletics department right now. Mm-hmm. And
especially with Jerry Kill retiring.
Yeah, with Jerry Kill retiring, and Clays isn't too big of a name over there, but it's kind of up to him. Yeah. And he might be on a short leash. I think he'll be safe, like you said, this year, but next year is a contract year, I think, where he could either work his way backwards and closer to a firing or work his way toward an extension.
The key for him is going to be developing those young players like Murphy and Mason and Kanate and seeing what they can bring next year.
Yeah, and I think on top of that, he's shown that he can recruit good players, whether they're from JUCO like Morris, but he's also bringing Amir Coffey next year and Curry, so that shows that he can really lock down the Minnesota Borders, if you will.
They have a top 20 recruiting class this year.
Which is impressive.
Yeah.
I don't think many people
Absolutely.
expected that right away. But, again, recruiting 4-star, 5-star players is one thing.
Yeah.
Developing them into actually being able to play in the Big Ten is another. So I think the first test with that is Mason and Murphy right away.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
that was kind of the knock on Tubby Smith, too, was that sometimes people didn't feel like he developed the players as much as he could have, especially with Rodney Williams.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like some players didn't really reach their full potential.
Definitely. I mean, I think Pitino kind of showed it already in terms of Mo Walker. Mo Walker was really overweight, and Pitino basically told him, "He's like, look, man, you need to cut weight or you're not going to play." And that's exactly what Mo did. And I think it really helped
for the Gophers last year. Yeah.
So that's interesting. I think another impact or kind of interesting component of Pitino is his system. In comparison to Tubby Smith's, is very exciting.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you how many times I think when Tubby Smith's Gophers played where they, just kind of pass the ball here, pass the ball there, pass the ball here. Okay, we have 7 seconds left on the shot clock.
Exactly.
Let's make something happen. Whereas, the Gophers now are really into this up-tempo style. They like to press and run on the fast break, and I think, honestly, if I'm a young recruit, that's the kind of ball I want to play.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
So, I think that's good to see. I think he is garnering some interest in the program, even from fans, in that respect. But
I'd say one issue, though, in his 3 years so far is the team's defense.
Mm-hmm.
It has not reached its full potential, and it's really struggled at times.
Yeah,
You've seen that against South Dakota in that game this year.
I don't think there's a real reason to keep pressing if the press doesn't work. I think you're just wearing out your team. But I think he thinks it should come around.
Yeah.
So
hopefully we'll see how that develops this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of tough matchups.
It will be a very hit or miss year. I think a lot of Gophers fans will need to just kind of hang in there.
Yeah.
And see what happens. So.
Yeah.
All right. That's all we got.